What's poppin'? Welcome back to Midwest World. It's the Tubecast. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. Greatly appreciate it from everybody, man. Make sure you sub here, all right? And make sure you sub to the backup, all right? Because we got extra content over there. Same style, you know what I mean? Same style, just different games, you know what I'm saying? We doing boxing exhibitions over there, you know what I'm saying? Like how I do basketball, I'm doing boxing over there. Football exhibitions, so you're gonna have Madden and 2K and all that type of stuff. Just spreading it out, you know what I mean? I don't do 3 times a day over there. I upload frequently, you know what I'm saying? But it's not multiple times a day, you know what I'm saying? If I do multiple times a day, it's usually included with a short. Not saying I won't eventually do that, but no, I don't, I post frequently over there, but it's not as much as here. But sub there for the extra content. Now, let's get to the topic at hand, man. What's with all the Kobe hate? Or what it seems like hate, you know what I mean? I don't understand this, even when T-Mac was on, I believe it was First Take, when he like, yeah, you don't think I could have got 3 wings with Shaq? I love T-Mac, dog. T-Mac's official. He was official. But I don't know about that. I don't know about that because this the thing with Kobe and T-Mac. I don't think T-Mac had the work ethic Kobe had to even be in a situation like that. I'm being honest. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he could deal with what comes with Shaq. All right? Kobe is strong-willed. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We've seen that with his play. You see that with his style. You know what I mean? I'm not saying T-Mac isn't. Like, we know he compares skill-wise. But work ethic-wise, do he compare? Do we? You know what I'm saying? Because you can be talented all day. You know what I'm saying? But Kobe put that work in. He put that work in. Now, everybody who got to the league put that work in, but did they continuously put that work in? That's the question. Because if you remember, Jeff Van Gundy, I think, had an issue with his work ethic, if I'm not mistaken, dog. Like, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. I think that was the case. You know what I'm saying? Just being honest. T-Mac was injury prone. Now, being injury prone can mean a lot of things. It can mean just, like AD, body done portrayed you had a too quick of a growth spurt, so your body, don't handle your size well, or you may not be taking care of yourself like that physically, so you getting all these nagging injuries. That's usually the reason for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Folks not in the gym like they supposed to be, and not lifting like they supposed to be. None of that. So they getting all these knick-knack injuries. You know what I'm saying? They eating BS. All that. That plays a part, whether you want to believe that or not. That plays a part. You're gonna always get injured in any sport. You know what I mean? But the nagging injury usually comes from you not taking care of yourself physically. You know what I'm saying? And that usually comes in the summertime where, you're supposed to rest and recover. Yes, you know what I'm saying? But you're supposed to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Strength-wise and all that. You know what I mean? And a lot of these dudes don't do it. You hear this in podcasts. NBA cats say this. This is not speculation. NBA cats say, yeah, they get to the league and just stop working. They don't love the game. You know what I'm saying? Kobe loved the game. You know what I'm saying? He loved the game more than most. You know what I'm saying? You could be great at something and not love it. That's the thing. But Kobe loved the game. And it showed with his play. We look at Shaq on this side of the NBA. Imagine how he is in the locker room, dog. Like, that's a lot. Kobe stood up to Shaq. Kobe stood up to Shaq. That's where they head butted at. Let's call that what it is. Kobe stood up to Shaq. Hey, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't about to be, talking to me like that. You know what I'm saying? Get in shape. You know what I mean? He stood up to him. So, I mean, That's where he wouldn't bow to him. So that's where I can guarantee you that's where most of that heat came from, is the fact that he stood up to Shaq like that. So, I mean, I'm not saying T-Mac couldn't, but I mean, look, man, they could have got a ring or two or something, but I don't know if they're a three-peat. I can't definitively say that because, T-Mac gonna have to play defense. He gonna have to be super ultra disciplined. All that, you know what I'm saying? The whole nine. And that's what Kobe was, man. Can he run the triangle offense? You know what I'm saying? Like, that, I mean, and the thing is, I'm not gonna act like I pay attention to the triangle offense like that, but I do know there was two dudes that was very successful in the triangle offense, and that's Michael Jordan, and that was Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean? So a lot of people question Phil. Well, no, I ain't gonna say that. But Phil only won with two kind of guys, and they had very, very similar gameplay. And if you look at it, the team was kind of set up the same. If you think about it, you look at that Bulls team. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at that. I'm gonna say the Lakers were older than them. Because if you look at that team, you had Odom, you can compare him to Scottie. You had Kobe, you can compare him to Jordan. Fisher, you can compare to a BJ Armstrong or something like that. I'm not saying this is one-on-one comparisons, but it's one. Gasol. Now we ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because Gasol cooking Bill Winnington in them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, similar setup, similar build, but I don't understand the triangle like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? But Kobe can run it well. Jordan can run it well. He won all his chips with them. You know what I'm saying? He won all his chips with them. You know what I mean? So I don't understand the hate for Kobe. Is it because honestly he's truly the closest thing to Jordan? And people hating? Because he's the only one that you can truly compare to Jordan. It's not Bron. Bron, you compare him to Magic. You supposed to compare Bron to Magic. That's whose game he resembles more. And I'm not even saying it resembles like that, but it makes more sense to compare Magic to LeBron or LeBron to Magic than Jordan. They don't even play the same way. You know what I'm saying? Not even close. You compare Kobe to Jordan. That's the true comparison. And people sitting, you got some people that just want to like ignore that. You know what I mean? Like they compare Bron to Jordan and he plays nothing like Jordan. They don't even play the same way. You compare Kobe to that man. That's where the conversation starts. Is it because they don't want to say Kobe might be more skilled than him? Because guess what? It's easy to sit there and say, yeah, Jordan better than Bron. That's apples to oranges. But they won't compare Kobe and Jordan. They won't have that strong debate because you really can debate who's better here. You could debate that. Honestly, you could really debate that. And people don't want to, they don't want to go down that rabbit hole because you can debate Kobe better than that man, dog. Straight up. I think Jordan himself would be like, hey, look, he might do a couple things better than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. It is what it is. So all this hate for Kobe, I'm kind of confused by this. Now, I know Kobe wasn't the most social guy in the world, but the thing is, a lot of greats are very socially awkward because they so locked into their craft, and that's just real. You know what I'm saying? A lot of greats, they're not exactly socially there, because they so focused on what they're focused on. They don't got time for nonsense. So Kobe was a guy that didn't have time for nonsense. He was locked into the game. You can listen to what Richard Hamilton said about him in high school. You know what I'm saying? Was it the Knuckleheads? I got to remember what podcast. Was it All the Smoke? I think it was All the Smoke. he was talking about this because they, you know, they was roommates, you know what I'm saying? I think for a tournament or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case. And he was talking about how Kobe wouldn't go to sleep because somebody was ranked above him and he couldn't wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, look, man, now we know the legal trouble he got into, but everybody human, they fall victim to distractions. You know what I'm saying? Everybody human. You know, everybody screw up. I don't know the true details of that. But we know his situation. You know what I'm saying? So he got caught slipping. You know what I mean? But outside of that, laser focused. And those guys are very socially awkward. If you know, think about it. When you was in school, you got the guy who was we always had those guys in class who was super, super smart, who got the A's, smart, but they was awkward socially, but because they was locked in on that schoolwork. They didn't care about anything else. You know what I'm saying? And that's how Kobe is to basketball. You know what I mean? If you look at and that's anybody. You know, they don't have many friends like that because they look at friends as a distraction. They getting in the way of things and they don't understand them. You know what I'm saying? So usually trying to pull them away from what they doing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Cole probably, you know, wasn't exactly the easiest dude to deal with when it comes to that because no excuses, all business. And I'm not mad at that. I like being around those kind of people. To be honest, I do. Because, you know, it just keeps you on your square. You know, you want to be around like-minded people. But you got to think about how many successful people it is in the world. How many people really be focused like that. It's not that many. It's not that many that be focused like that. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't gotta be like a psychopath when it comes to your craft like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be. But you know, the ones that's like that usually get far. But the negative part is they're just awkward to be around. They're awkward socially. They don't, you know, it is what it is. But I don't understand all the slander, or I ain't even gonna say it's slander. The slick talk. There's a lot of slick talk going on about Kobe. Oh, he wasn't. Wade said something about how they felt like Gasol should have got the finals MVP. Everybody thought Gasol should have got that because, you know, Gasol played better. I'm not going to disagree or argue with that. You know what I'm saying? But we know how this MVP stuff go in the finals. That'd be popularity stuff. They barely even go by the numbers. You know that. How many times you didn't watch the finals where somebody done got the finals MVP? Like, how did he get that over him? How did that happen? You know what I'm saying? You see it happen with MVPs. So the award thing, I mean, that's mixed with politics and play. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So, but I don't understand. Like, look, D Wade is not better than Kobe Bryant at anything. You know what I mean? So, I don't think he was talking crazy like that. It's just, I don't think people talking crazy like that, but it's like, it seemed like some underhanded type stuff. It's like, man, hold up. You wondering like, hold on, why wasn't y'all saying this while he was here? When Bean was alive, you ain't hear all that. You didn't hear that from these players. He been passed for a few years now, you know, you starting to see the chirping like where they like, yeah, you know, well, Kobe really wasn't even like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Kobe was like that. Kobe is one of the greatest tools to play the game, dog. He's better than the people that's talking about him, to be honest. He is. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's better than the dudes that, I mean, I'm not understanding this. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with T-Mac, I think T-Mac could have been better than Cole, but I don't think he just had the work ethic for it, man. Vince Carter, he had the potential to be better than Kobe. I don't think he had the work ethic. Now, later on down the line, because Vince, his talent says he should be a champion, all right? Vince Carter, one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen of basketball. One of the most beautiful games I've ever seen of basketball. We're not even gonna play these games. Vince has one of the most, outside of Kyrie, Vince had one of the smooth, like when you see how Kyrie is with the handle, that's how Vince is in the air. You know what I'm saying? That's Vince. So I don't understand you know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Vince, he could have probably ended up being better than Kobe, but his work ethic wasn't like that. Now, later on down the line, he improved his shot. That's how he stayed in the league like that. And I'm not saying his work ethic wasn't like when I say that, it's not like Kobe's work ethic. Yeah, you can't be in the league that long and not have a work ethic, but it wasn't like Kobe type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Kobe was obsessive about the game. Obsessive about the game. And some will say that's not healthy. Some will say that's not healthy. You know what I mean? But I'll be right back. I'm about to go in, clock in to get my stuff and everything, and I'll come right back. You know what I'm saying? Once I get in the truck, all right? All right, I'm back, y'all. I'm back. Now, they got me going on a long one, so you know, hey, it is what it is. Let's get to it, though. But like I was saying, Vince, he had the potential to be better than Cole, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, his skill set, you know what I'm saying? Vince, I mean, but, you know, it's speculated that he quit on Toronto. That's the speculation, right? So, a lot of this, you can have as much talent as you want. That's fine. There's a lot of more talented, whatever, you know what I mean? In any aspect in life, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you work a job, let's talk a regular 9-to-5 job. You might have somebody that can just come in naturally, handle their business, but could be on the lazy side. You know what I'm saying? Don't really, you know, give effort all like that. You know what I'm saying? But then you got the person who work hard in the mug, handle business. You know what I'm saying? May not be as good as somebody else, but they put that work in, put that pain in, they upgrade to management. You know what I'm saying? You know, because they do all the other stuff. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's how I go, man. And being, like I said, you know, he said himself, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not the greatest, you know what I mean? I'm not the most, you know, gifted, you know what I'm saying? He's worked the hardest, you know what I mean? So, and that's really where it's at, you know what I mean? That's really where it's at, man. And I feel like, in a sense, people might be, I can't even say that, because it's like, oh, well, you had Shaq, but he won 2 without him, though. He won 2 without him with Gasol and Odom. You know what I'm saying? We not, and listen, Paul Gasol is the truth. Paul Gasol is the truth. You know what I'm saying? But he's not the dominant force Shaq is. You know what I'm saying? He's not the dominant force Shaq is at all. LO was cold-blooded. You know what I'm saying? But he a tier 2 star. You know what I'm saying? So Kobe had to put that work in. I mean, look. Now, they did have Bynum. Bynum, I feel like he had some bad injury issues that I don't think was disclosed, honestly. You know what I'm saying? You know, because Bynum, when he was healthy, cold-blooded, but he had some bad injury issues that, you know, they don't uncover like that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it is what it is. We know what's up. His career was short. You know what I mean? Due to injuries. You know what I mean? But, yeah, man, I don't know, man. All this negative talk surrounding Kobe is kind of wild, actually. It's like, man, hold on. You know, I don't get this. You know, I don't know many twos that's better than Kobe. If you can list them, please say so. How many twos is better than Kobe? Because the thing is this, right? If you got Jordan number 1, right, which that's like 90% of people. I'm gonna say 90. You know, it's like 90% of people. It's probably more so 99. You know, but I'm gonna say 90% of people. So you got somebody who played exactly like him, who pretty much had close to the same success and everything at the 2. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. So if no one's better than Jordan, no one, right? And you got somebody who play exactly like him at that position, who's better than him then? You know what I'm saying? Who's better than him then? It's not T-Mac. It's not D-Wade. Clyde the Glide. Is Clyde the Glide better than Cole? I don't know about that. And I think Clyde the Glide, you know, he could play both 2 and 3. You got Clyde Frazier. Is he better than, you know what I mean? Like, maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because once you start talking to old school players, that's where You know, people start coming out the woodworks like, well, listen, this day was different. So, look, man, all right. You know what I mean? I think Cole, with his mindset, he could play in any era. There's certain dudes with their mindset that could play in any era. Kobe is one of the guys that could play in the 80s, the 70s, because he's obsessive about the game. You know what I'm saying? And he with all the physical smoke. So I don't think Kobe have a problem in that era. You know what I'm saying? So we're not even going to do that. But if Jordan is the greatest, you know what I'm saying, that means Kobe right behind him. That's the letter of the law. Unless you want to discount everything because you feel like he's a clone. Well, he is a clone. Unless you want to discount everything because, like, no, he a clone, so we can't put him there. And I understand that. But if you're going to copy the style, he did it right. He did it right. Straight up, he did it right. So I can't name... I'm sorry, I can't. We gonna say Allen Iverson better than Kobe Bryant? We gonna do that? Nah, we ain't gonna do that. So there's not many tools that's messing with Kobe, dog. So I don't understand all this hate, you know what I'm saying, or negative talk coming his way. But that's how it is, man. That's how it is. People's true feelings come out about you at some point. They come out about you at some point. And it's not like Kobe was the most loved dude in the world either, man. But I don't know, man. Kobe one of them ones, and people feel this type of way about him anyway because when we start talking top tens, his placement be so all over the place. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. It's like this. Look at a guy like Pac, right? Rest in peace to Pac. Was Pac the most lyrically inclined rapper? No. Line for line, bar for bar, he's not the best rapper ever. A lot of this is subjective, but when we start talking rap skills on the mic, Tupac is not the greatest. Putting them words together, no, he's not. He's the most loved. He's one of the most hardworking, and that's what put Pac over. The fact that he's so hardworking. He got busy. He worked hard. You know what I'm saying? Worked hard. Obsessive. All right? That's how he had so much content. You know what I'm saying? Obsessive. And he made songs that resonated with people. But we're talking skill-wise on the mic, Pac isn't the greatest on the mic. We're not even going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not going to do that. Like, if we talking putting words together, is Tupac better than Cannabis? Putting words together, no. But then we start talking flows, right? We start talking flows. You got guys that's amazing with the flow. Biggie, flow was outstanding. Pun, Cole. It's a lot of tears when it comes to this, you know what I mean? So, and it's subjective, but due to somebody being their favorite, they argue to the death about it. And it's like, look, man, X was a hard worker. He put out 2 albums in 1 year that went platinum. X worked hard. He had an album every year. Every year, you know what I'm saying? So, hard work gets you over talent a lot of the times, man. Consistency and things like that. So, no matter how you feel about Cole, he was consistent. He was consistent. Some games better than others. Some years might be slightly better, slightly worse, but he was consistent. He didn't have no drop off. Even after his Achilles injury, he was consistent. That shows you he never just fell off the face of the earth when it came to basketball, like some players did. And that's because he put that pain and put that work in. So however you feel about being, you know what I'm saying? However you feel about being, that's fine, but you can't ignore the facts here. You cannot personally like somebody. That's fine. Everybody got that right. But it's like, don't let don't let your dislike for the person cloud what they've done and accomplished. Because at that point, that's where the hating comes. That's hating right there. That's hating. Ignoring the facts and just being, that's hating. That's the definition of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can dislike somebody all day. Like, yeah, I ain't feeling him, but I can't knock what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? I can't knock that. And Kobe, a 5-time champion. You know what I'm saying? 1 under 6. All right? However you want to spin it. He proved people wrong. They said he couldn't win without Shaq. Got 2 without him. And we not going to sit there and hold his team against him because he didn't have, like, the illest team of all time here. We not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Now, what was crazy was when the Lakers had stacked teams, they didn't win. You know what I'm saying? They didn't win. That's where egos come into place and people knowing their position. When the Lakers had Malone, Peyton, you know what I'm saying, and all that, they didn't win. They got to the finals, they didn't win. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't think they would have beat us. Because we played a better brand of basketball than them. We matched them very well, and we had a bench. People tend to sleep on that. And we went back to the finals after that and just barely lost to the Spurs. You know what I'm saying? So, and the Spurs and the Pistons play the same. So, I mean, that was a game of chess anyway. They just beat us on the chessboard. But the Lakers was not going to beat us anyway. Okay? Malone was not about to do nothing with Sheed. All right? Ben could hold his own. I mean, Shaq is Shaq. But Ben could hold his own with him. We know that. Tayshaun, who they had? Rick Fox? Fox not doing nothing with Tayshaun, dog. We ain't doing that. Now, Kobe and Rip, Rip not stopping Cole. You know what I'm saying? At all. But then again, you got to chase Rip around and run through them screens. So they kind of cancel each other out. Okay? The point guard position, we seen Chauncey cooking paint. We seen that. So the Lakers wasn't beating us in those 7-game series. I truly believe that. I did not go in that series thinking we was going to lose. I'm like, we put together too well. And we had a bench to keep everything going. They wasn't beating us. Even if Shaq averaged 30, they wasn't beating us. It was not going to beat us because the defense was too legit, man. You know what I'm saying? Kobe wasn't just about to score over Tayshaun, as you've seen. Like, I mean, he was going to have a rough night, man. Like, so, I mean, it is what it is. They wasn't beating us. They're lucky they got that one game. So, all that stuff when people talk about, oh, man, because Malone was going to get cooked the same way my man's was. Malone wasn't doing that with Sheed. That was old Malone. Sheed was about to take him to the 3-point line, go to get busy on him in the paint, all that. It was what it was. All right? Now, I did think they was going to be nasty with Steve Nash, Artest, Dwight, Cole. I'm like, man, but then again, sometimes you could be too stacked. You gotta have balance, man. You know what I'm saying? Because all these guys are competitive still. They all want they shine. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have a good balance. That's why I feel like it's always a good balance when you have 2 stars and elite role players. You know what I'm saying? Role players who know they role. And then you got your 2 stars that play off one another. I mean, you know, if you look at the Bulls, Scotty and Jordan, those two stars. However you feel about Scotty, I don't care. Scotty is one of the greatest basketball players ever. It is what it is. And you had Jordan, and you had the rest dope role players. It is what it is. That's how the Bulls is built. When you look at the Lakers, Kobe and Shaq and them, you had Kobe, Shaq, and the rest role players. You can argue that team wouldn't even be in the playoffs without them 2. You know what I'm saying? 100%. So, or missing one, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I feel like teams when you got that balance, it's better like that. You know what I'm saying? 2 stars and role players who know they role. You got my man, he know what he do is rebound, kick it out, or get garbage points. The center, you know what you supposed to do. Protect this paint. We kick it down to you here and there, but how you get your points is off the rebound, putting that back up. You know what I'm saying? You got your guy, your Swiss Army knife, your 3. Your job is to play defense, and the 3 is a very critical position, man. The 3, you supposed to be able to do everything. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, that's how I feel when it comes to the 3. You supposed to be able to, if necessary, bring the ball up the court. You supposed to be able to guard at least the point guard, the shooting guard, and the 3, and sometimes even the 4 maybe. You're supposed to be able to be cold on defense, 100%. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do everything at the 3. You know what I'm saying? So your 2 guard, as a shooting guard, you better be able to score. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now, you got some instances at the 2 guard position where you can get away with not being a scorer like Tony Allen. What do you say? All team first defense. You know what I'm saying? You can get away with it there, but you better be elite at defense. Shane Battier, he was he could play the 3 and the 2. You know what I'm saying? But he was elite at defense. But it's called shooting guard for a reason. You better be able to score at an elite level, all right? If anything, you better be able to score at an elite level. Or if you can't do that, you better be exceptional at defense to where you shutting down their 2 guard. You know what I'm saying? So the 1, we already know what the 1's supposed to do. You not even supposed to really be scoring like that as the point guard. You supposed to get everybody else in position. You know what I'm saying? Your priority is supposed to be getting everybody on point, running the offense, being an extension of the coach, and being a defender to be able to stop their point guard. So really, I mean, scoring is supposed to come second and third if you're the point guard technically. But you got all these score first point guards and things like that, you know what I'm saying? That point guards is nothing but an extension of the coach. He the drone for the coach, man. That's all he is, you know what I mean? And we know who the greatest point guards in the world is, or ever. It's the extensions of the coach. Because would you say Steph Curry is one of the greatest point guards of all time? I wouldn't say that. He's one of the best scorers of all time, but point guard? Running the 1s? No. Steph, no. He's not great at running the 1s at all. He's an elite shooter, and his shooting ability masks all his problems. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. No player is perfect, but he's more so of a 2. 100%. He's more so of a 2. But due to his size and his lack of defensive ability, you can't put him at the 2 because he's going to get cooked at the 2. You know what I'm saying? You can't really hide him at the 2. You can hide him at the 1, though. You see? So, I mean, Steph, all-world Hall of Fame shooter. He's not no good point guard, though. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. You know what a good point guard, who a good point guard is? Jason Kidd. All-world point guard, Hall of Fame point guard. Rajon Rondo, point guard. Chris Paul, point guard. Steve Nash, point guard. John Stockton, point guard. Isaiah Thomas for the Pistons, point guard. All right? These are point guards here. You know what I'm saying? Now, some may, like I said, Steph is great. Steph is great. He's just not a point guard. Like, it's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And the way in today's game, he can get away with that style. I'm just calling it how I see it, man. So, it is what it is with that, man. Like, I just, and the way the Warriors was built, Mark Jackson put that team together. Steve Kerr just came in and just like kind of picked up where Mark Jackson left off. He built that culture. I want to see Steve Kerr coach a team, and I want to see him do what Tyronn Lue do, because I have questions. My bad, I mean these grapes, y'all. I have questions about his coaching ability. I'm dead serious. I'm not hating on Steve Kerr. I'm not hating. But the thing is, I have questions, because I even have questions about Phil Jackson, honestly. You know, I'm just like, well, I haven't seen Phil Jackson coach a team that, and it's not, listen, Phil Jackson is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You look at Greg Popovich the same way too. You know what I'm saying? Because when he didn't have Duncan in them, then, you know what I mean? So, same thing with Phil. It's like, well, Phil, he has a certain offense, and it takes certain players to run the offense. But a great coach should be able to teach players to be able to fit into that offense. And you're supposed to be able to alter what you do, you know what I'm saying, to fit your players for success. You look at a Spoelstra, great coach, because the Heat, man, listen, dog, like, that team always seemed like the less talented, but always, they ain't no easy win, dog. And that's due to Spoelstra. The Spoelstra. You know what I'm saying? Spoelstra, great coach. You know what I'm saying? He should go down as one of the best. Tyronn Lue, we seen his coaching ability. He cold-blooded. Now, Doc Rivers can coach. He can coach. He can. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I think it's easier to coach players that because I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. Star players usually have egos. They feel like they know it all already, and that's where the nip and tug come from. When you got players that just want to learn and want to soak in on the knowledge like a sponge, they're gonna do, and they're gonna trust what you say. That makes it easier to coach. You know what I'm saying? That makes it very easy to coach. You know, when I was teaching kids, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, the ones that didn't give me a headache, you know what I'm saying, was the ones who listen to what I'm saying, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying everything I say is right either, you know what I mean? But they listening, you know, and you grow together, but they want to take in this knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And execute and trust what you say. That's how, you know, listen, man, that's why a lot of coaches don't want to come over to the pros, because these dudes, they get paid, they feel like they know it all, and they're going to push back over everything. They feel like they ain't got, you know what I'm saying? You know, coaches play an important role, for real. You know what I mean? So, as a coach, you're supposed to see your player, know what they're good at, know what they're bad at, and put them in position to execute what they're good at and hide what they're bad at. You know what I'm saying? You know, but you got to allow the coach to do that too. You have to allow the coach to do that. If you constantly push it back on the coach all the time, you know what I'm saying? He's not able to put you in position. Now, all coaches not the same. You got some bullheaded coaches. You know what I'm saying? But you got some coaches that's like, okay, let me adjust. Let me adjust to the guys I got. You know, and that's a humble coach. You got some arrogant coaches that don't listen. So everything is circumstantial, but you know what I mean? That's why everybody, you know, all coaches don't get paid the same. All coaches don't have the same success. You know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. You know what I mean? You could give Eric Spoelstra a mediocre hand and he'll go to the playoffs with it. You know what I'm saying? He might get out the first round still. You know what I'm saying? You can give him a mediocre hand and he will still be in the playoffs. You could book that. You know what I'm saying? Tyronn Lue, you give him a mediocre hand, he'll be in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Doc Rivers. If you give him a team with no stars and he able to do what he do, he can go to the playoffs. Now, when it comes to having, I don't know what it is with him and stars though. He got the chip with the Celtics. But I'm saying though, you know, certain coaches just need, like, I'll say this. I think, what was the coach? The coach, Tyronn Lue, took his spot for the Cavs. The foreign coach. He came from overseas. He ain't been back since. You know what I'm saying? I keep forgetting his name, dog. But I don't think he deserved to get fired. I thought he was all right. But Lou probably better over here, though. Mike Brown, I don't think he's a bad coach. I do not think Mike Brown's a bad coach. I don't know the hate for Mike Brown. I think he's a pretty good coach, man. So, some coaches got more rope than others. Nate McMillan, I think, is a good coach. You know what I'm saying? I thought Paul Silas was a good coach. Like, look, man, you got to let your coach do what he do. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be coachable. You know what I mean? You got to be coachable. And my thing is this. If you're in a bad situation with the coach, I mean, it's easier said than done, you know? Especially if you got a 2-year deal or something like that. Don't resign to that team, leave. But also, narratives get put out there too. So it's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. I understand that, but, you know, I mean, look. There's questions with, you know what I'm saying, with everything, man. Like, there's questions with everything. But the thing is, Steve Kerr, I want to see him actually develop the team for real. Like, really develop a team. Seriously. You know what I mean? Then I'm like, okay, Steve Kerr like that, because a lot of people feel like he did a bad job with the USA team by not playing Tatum. I agree. Everybody should just got rotation. I mean, honestly, that's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should just got burned. You know what I mean? There's no reason to bury nobody. Just rotate people. Everybody should have fun with that. You know what I mean? We're going to play you some here, play you some here. Everybody should, listen, there should have been no fatigue issues or nothing with the USA. Everybody should have got some burn and have fun. It should not have been about nobody. When it comes to the USA Olympic basketball, you playing with the best of the best that the NBA has to offer, supposedly. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really about who got the most points, who this, that, or third. It's about us representing as the best team in the world. You know what I'm saying? Period, point blank. The best country in the world, you know what I'm saying, that do this basketball stuff. So it ain't about how many minutes you got. It's about everybody going out there, and the minutes you get, you go out there and dominate. That's what it's about. So I feel like Steve Kerr should have gave everybody some birds, still had a constant rotation. That's what I would have did personally. Like, all right, everybody getting some burn. Everybody getting burned. We got the greatest players in the NBA here. There's no reason why nobody should touch the floor here. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. That's how I would have handled that, man. So, it is what it is. I think Steve Kerr, I think everybody knows Steve Kerr. I think everyone knows, like, hey, that was Mark Jackson's situation. Now he did win that championship in 2000. He won that championship after Durant and them. I mean, look, Steve Kerr was given a great hand. You know what I'm saying? He was given a great hand. It is what it is. It's not no knock, but he was given a great elite hand. We're not going to play these games like he wasn't given a great hand. So it's hard to really judge him on his coaching ability when you got the great erasers of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Okay? They can erase any mistake with them three-point shooting. With that three-point shooting, they can erase any mistake. Even if they're being suspect on defense. If them two is hot, threes beat twos every day of the week. Okay? Now, I don't agree with that play style like that, honestly, because everybody tries to emulate it. You got to have the clientele to do that. You can't just be out there shooting threes if you're not cut like that. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's not a wise move to emulate the Warriors, because you have to have the guys that's able to do that. You know what I'm saying? You have to. And what people tend to forget about Steph, he practices a lot. He built from that class of I'm working on my game. Steph stay working on that. He don't just come out the bed like, oh, I can shoot. No, he in that gym working on that shot all the time. Them crazy shots, he practiced those. You got these dudes coming into the league thinking they can just pull up from the logo and don't practice it. You got to practice that. You got to practice in-game situations. You got to practice contested shots. Steph do all that. You know what I'm saying? His dad, Dale, wasn't no slouch. He come from that. All right. So in order to do what Steph do, you got to put in that Steph work. And these dudes don't put that Steph work in. All right. So you cannot emulate your team after the Warriors. That's a rare case. You know what I'm saying? Winning a championship like that is a rare case. All right? It's a rare case. That's like the only team I've seen do some stuff like that, because if you look at it, right, Mike D'Antoni, the Suns, you know their problem? Suspect on defense. Suspect on defense. They couldn't stop nothing. Offense was elite. Couldn't stop nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nobody on that team was defenders. The only one on that team was the Matrix, Shawn Marion. He was the defender, but who else? Who else? Now, they'll run you out the build, but I mean, you can score on them. Just as easy as they can hit you on the break, just as easy as you can score on them. Okay, so, I mean, that was the Suns' problem. I feel like the Suns probably should have got a championship. Okay, but no defense at all. Like, it's like, dog, no defense, but very spectacular offense to watch. So, I mean, you got to have both, because even though the Warriors, that's rare for them to win a championship that way, guess what? They can play defense. They can play defense. And they had a defensive scheme to hide Steph. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Like, look, I could talk ball all day. You know what I'm saying? I could talk ball all day. That's going into the pilot, though. You know what I mean? That's going into the pilot that I'm working on. So, you know, if you notice, the topics I've been talking about, the two sports, it's going into a pilot I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have a date on when I'm going to launch that. You know what I mean? But stay tuned. You know, I'm just working on it. That's the Tubecast. I'm just piloting this. But then once I go full-fledged with that and announce it, then we're going to have a schedule for what I'm trying to do here. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it might be a weekly thing or a couple times a week thing, because the gaming content is going to be every day. The gaming content every day for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether it's 3, 2, the times I premiere is between 4 and 6. So it might be times I don't upload 3 times a day. It might be times it's just 2. But it's going to always land at 4 and 6, between 4 and 6 range. That's the slot. And then on Midwest World Backup, I'm messing with the times. I switched it from 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. Okay? 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. So now, when I do drop something, it's 9 a.m. I like to be scheduled, though. I'm a schedule freak. I like to be scheduled. You know what I'm saying? So 9 a.m. is usually when stuff land there. That don't mean nothing to be shadow dropping, nothing like that. I'm thinking of reviewing albums over and back on the backup channel. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, check that out. You know, because I'm about to probably review that Clip soon over there. Because that album, I love that album. The Clips, oh man, I love that album. So stay tuned for that. You know what I mean? Because definitely gonna review projects and stuff over there. You know what I mean? So, man, make sure you sub for both channels. You know what I mean? Show my love for hip hop and everything. I mean, I got the promo channel. You know what I'm saying? Over, you know, that show the music and the highlights and things like that. You know, explicit content. You know, so if you don't want to hear curse words, don't go there. But the backup, I'm gonna probably review albums and things like that. So make sure you tune in over there if you want to hear hip hop takes and stuff like that, man. All right, so make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. Greatly appreciate it from everybody. Peace.